Alrighty, everybody, this is episode 135 of Bloody Thumbs podcast with Splinter 47, joined by my colleague, brother-in-arms, been with me since episode 1, good old C.H. Skorog.
Thank you, since the dawn of time, man.
I know, you can't have one without the other, like David and Goliath, or, you know. Well, I was going to name the Three Stooges there, but that's 3 of them, so we had to add somebody else in there.
Oh, we could have the knowledge that Jessica Chobot always has a seat in our panel of discussions here as the third party of the group. You know,
the third wheel. Yeah, I always have a empty seat right here next to me in case she needs to, you know, spout anything or get on her soapbox. It's always there. It's gathering a bit of dust. I mean, I bought some steel chairs this weekend, and it's been gathering dust ever since.
What are the straps for, though?
The straps for?
Yep.
Well, you know, it's hard to explain. It's a new therapy I'm working on. It's called, lay down, don't say anything, don't scream therapy. It's the new rave these days. It's like the chocolate diet. This is going to be the next chocolate diet.
I look forward to feeling, to reading your book all about the strap down to a chair therapy. Sounds wonderful.
It is. And speaking of what may or not be wonderful to you, my good sir, I understand we had a big Microsoft press conference where I've only just read the highlights like I mentioned to you before we recorded here. So you had the opportunity to view the Microsoft press conference here. So I guess we can just delve into that for a good portion of the podcast here and see where we go from there.
Oh, yeah, I'm fairly certain we will have a good amount to talk about, especially with the reveals, or should I say the lack thereof. So, yeah, well, let's jump right into the fray there.
So we got the announcement here of the new 360. Prominently named the Xbox One, which I have a hard time getting used to that. It's a weird. I think it was a weird naming scheme from the beginning. I couldn't come up with any good ideas what they could name the next predecessor for the 360.
I mean, they got to make it friendly for everybody, but still advertise what they want it to be, which is an all-in-one entertainment system. The problem being that the Xbox One sounds like, oh, you're referring to the one back in early, not decades? Like, no, the new Xbox One. And so it's just, I mean, they could have chosen a lot better ones. Apparently, I thought one of the names that they were kicking around was the Nexus, which would, be awesome, but it sounds a little too intimidating for the regular, Joe Schmo. And, I would like to think that people aren't stupid enough to think that, Xbox One means, the original Xbox. But then again, undervaluing the American intelligence is rather, you're not going to beat the spread on that one.
Definitely. I think probably, even though it sounds a bit silly, it would have been a bit more, it would have been the obvious choice. But I would have been just fine with a 720 myself, the Xbox 720.
Yeah, there really could have been almost any other name that people would not have hated. But then again, I would like to also think of maybe, the Wii. It was, the Wii was something that we all laughed at, and then we just got over, and then, enjoyed it. But more so than the name, it's the business practices that really make me.
Really grind your gears, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly grind my gears. Where, first off, and Sony is guilty of this too. there are no games, there's no new IPs, there's nothing making me salivate for the next generation. First off, I think that we need to elongate this generation because we're finally starting to hit a good stride. Dev kits are probably cheaper than they've ever been, and we're turning out incredible games like BioShock Infinite, or the new DMC game, or Metal Gear Rising, and then we have Revengeance coming. We had Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. That name, but it's then Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out, and then we have all these new interesting games. In the next gen, it looks just empty. Like, the only thing that even really tickles my fancy or makes me interested is, in terms of kind of the new next gen stuff, is maybe Watch Dogs. But it doesn't look that different or innovative. It just is different, and that makes me like, oh, thank God, there's something else here. And that just makes me really worried for the industry right now, because nobody's focusing on the fact that we don't have games. We have hardware. We have sales pitches. We have these ludicrous business strategies. Yeah, Luda. I mean, I would honestly expect for Microsoft to drag out Ludacris to get him to endorse the products, because you want something as removed from gamers as Ludacris, then you certainly want to bring in these other problems. For instance, there's this really weird. Apparently, it's going to be Xbox One will need to go online eventually, where I'm reading this right now. It's for single player from corporate VP Phil Harrison says, for single player games that don't require connectivity to Xbox Live, you should be able to play those without interruption should your internet connection go down. Blu-ray movies and other download entertainment should be accessible when your internet connection may be interrupted. But the device is fundamentally designed to be expanded and extended by the internet, as many devices are today. And that I mean, he's dancing around the subject where it's like, okay, well, how is this connectivity going to be incorporated? And I mean, it's really, really problematic. And as you were saying before we started recording, apparently you're going to have to pay to get your used games unlocked. And what the hell is that about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I know that they're not. I mean, they just basically have like a really chummy relationship with, GameStop and all those, retailers who are just trying to they hate each other, but like they have a amicable relationship. But as soon as the other's back is turned, it's like, that motherfucker right there, I hate the shit. Oh, he's over there. Hey, how you doing there, buddy? It's like one of those relationships.
And on top of that, there's also seems to be some discussion there that it's not backwards compatible, or not going to be able to play any of the XBLA games on there as well. Seems like it's not supported. So some of that digital content is going to be, like we mentioned before, it seems to be a tricky issue there, like how we discussed. Like, we bought so many things digitally, and just to see how they could have transferred those over, seems like it's not going to happen.
That is unbelievable. I mean, they focus on this online connectivity just to keep people in the loop, and they don't focus at all on purchases people have made on their Xbox 360, or their achievements, or the fact that the 500 gigabyte hard drive, which is a huge amount, it still will not be able to be replaced. It's really, really aggravating with what the business practices that they did, and also the fact that the Xbox One will not function without the Kinect, which is just, I don't know, extortion is the closest thing I can think about. Just because, okay, you even if you're not going to use the Kinect, and it's in every case, even if it's offline, and it just, it's really, really bad. I'm not looking forward to this. And the fact their flagship game that they were parading around was just another Modern Warfare game just makes me really, really sad and not at all excited for the next generation. And I'll probably be sticking to this one. This might be, the 360 might be the last big console I ever purchase. Unless they, change things up or Sony starts making a really good deal.
Oh yeah, I hear you. It's just a lot of what seems to be going on with these, newly announced next gen consoles. It just seem kind of redundant a bit with some of the features they have there, and also just it also starting to make it a bit of a hassle just to play a simple game where like back in the the SNES days you would just like pop in a game and with no problem and just enjoy the game. We just want to play the game, but you're making it so much of a hassle, needing a either internet connection or the Kinect, and if what happens if your Kinect's busted, so you're not going to be able to turn it on probably. And I see it as voice command, so you can turn it on with the Kinect. So that's pretty nice, but it could also be a pretty inconvenience there. And looking from the titles here, a lot of them are just already established franchises here. The only two new IPs I see on there is Watch Dogs and a new game that Remedy's working on as well, called Quantum Break, which is really not a lot of details for it from that, other than that live action teaser trailer with little, just really quick snippets of gameplay there, but no idea what that game's about. But
we need to come together as a collective society and ban the use of everyone who wants to use the word quantum. All right, that name has gone so far out of it's been used so many times. It's right up there with Reckoning or Judgment Day, where it's like, okay, we've been using this word way too much, and now we need to move on to a new one.
Yeah, you do make a point. There's a lot of quantums there. Quantum conundrum. We got quantum theory. A lot of things. A lot of quantums.
And it makes me really worried that before there were the hints of stagnation in the industry, and now this seems to be kind of the final nail not the final nail, the first nail in the coffin, where it's okay, now it's getting worse, where now it's actually materialized in the fact that and as you were saying, you could play the Super Nintendo, just slap in your cartridge and you'll be good to go. Now you have to jump through all these hoops. You have to be installing games to play them, but Microsoft says that you'll be able to play the games while you're installing them. It still doesn't really change the fact that installing the games first off, it feels unnecessary. And the reason why I bought a 360 over a PC is because I wanted ease of use. I wanted just plug in my my games and and I'm good to go. And I really like a controller. And now it's just really, really bizarre just how it's now become a PC without any of the benefits of being a PC. You can't mod, you can't join factions. The nicest, I use this in quotes, the best feature of the 360 so far is bumping up your friends list from 100 to 1,000, which I never understood in the first place. Like, okay, we've been having the limit of 100 friends on Xbox Live for since the early days, and now it just seems like, okay, now it's a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys where there's no features here I'm excited for.
I never got as far as 20 friends, so why would I need to expand it to 1,000 or however many they're going to expand it to? It's strange. I'm not overly upset about it. I still have to look into a bit more what's to come from this console here, but yeah, it's making more and more every day, man. I'm always thinking. I think it's time for me to invest in a PC.
Yeah,
PC gaming seems to be the way to go these days. But I'm looking here.
At least they get indie support.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's always like updates and patches for almost everything with the PC. It's very constant. Just reading a bit more. Like I was mentioning earlier, that Wired got a little bit of access to the Xbox One there, and it seems that you can install the game onto the console itself and play without the disc, which is pretty nice because I have I've been installing games and just so I could just so I can play them, so it doesn't sound like a rocket's taking off every time when I don't have it installed. So it would be nice to play it without the disc there. It seems like it may be tied to an Xbox Live account. So if you install the game on there and then try to borrow that disc to somebody else, it may not. And this seems to be some sort of thing where it might be an option to pay a fee to install that game as well. It's just, all this anti-piracy things that are really affecting the way you just want to play these games, especially if they're used. I mean, we already had this discussion, but if the game is used, it's already been bought for. So I'm not sure. They just want to,
they just want more money.
That's all it is. It's just greed and adding those elements there that just make it just such a hassle.
I mean, the way to combat piracy is not to punish the players. That is rule one of anti-piracy rules. Like you have, for instance, I think we talked about this before, but the reason why iTunes is so successful is because they make it easier to access the songs you want, as well as artists that you like, or they come out with like new singles only on iTunes, and they make it easier than it would be for piracy. That is how you get people over. You don't win them over by these draconian systems of like shackles where you're punished for being a loyal customer. And it's oh my gosh, it is just so irritating that we're going backwards. It feels like it's like how is the Nintendo 64 era looking better than what we have right now?
They had the games, man. The games. I don't know.
They had Jet Force Gemini. That's very, very true.
I mean, Yoshi's Island definitely helped that console. Yeah. I love it. I can talk about Yoshi's Island all day, but yeah, I mean, it's we'll still have to see. I mean, I know that's the information we got so far, and I know it's still a bit early, but maybe we'll have a change of thought by the time it comes out. But it seems that they're marketing, especially with the PS3, they did the same thing. A lot of it's just more of a entertainment device than just a game console now. Is evolving a bit more into that because there's so many different social media outlets and just a variety of things people do with their entertainment and games mixed in together. So they're just trying to mix this whole thing up into one. And I know that they didn't necessarily announce any type of new IPs or anything, but it's still, the jury's out on that until probably E3. But a lot of it's just kind of introducing the hardware mostly for the most part. And there's always going to be games for it anyway, whether they be new IPs or not. There's going to be games for them, for the Xbox and the PS3s.
Yeah, I mean it's just so terrible how. I mean, both the PS3 and the Xbox 360 seem to be, having a lot of good ideas implemented at the beginning of it, and then there's just nothing afterwards. Where Xbox had no indie support, Sony's PlayStation, really, really idiotic move with the whole, the security breach, where they didn't treat their customers at all with a modicum of respect, and just now there's no. I mean, they've gone from like being this really huge, like they had huge potential in the beginning, and now it just seems like okay, they're squandering it for this this consistent fear at the nipping at their heels of okay, we need to make the most money as much as possible, so we will punish anybody who tries to be supportive of us. And it's just this greed, and that's why a lot of these AAA games that sell millions are still failing, because they want the most money possible, and you don't do it by doing that. You do like for instance Dark Souls, where it knew its audience, it sold its niche very well, and then it moved on, and not like Resident Evil 6, where it tried to be everything all at once and then satisfied nobody. And this is what I'm really afraid of. I think that this might be the start of another crash, where it's just this horrendous console cycle. I mean, the biggest thing I'm hoping for is that the Valve Steam box or whatever they call it is going to be, blowing the hinges off, the doors off the hinges.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If not, we'll just go back to playing the SNES, and you and I will just start messaging each other on message boards.
That sounds about right. Like we'll just have the chat on like the instant message chat that Neo and Trinity were having in the Matrix, where it's just like, okay, we're back in '98. I don't even know why, but I mean the launch lineup is like so disappointing, and it's like, wait, this is your new console. You should trumpet like huge things coming. At least a Fable game or something, and then it's like, no, we got a live-action Quantum Break trailer, sports games, Modern Warfare, whatever, whatever's coming next. It's really disappointing.
Destiny.
Destiny, yeah, I love Bungie, and I've always enjoyed their work on Halo, and so I hope Destiny's awesome, but it looks so weird right now. And the biggest thing that I was excited for was Steven Spielberg is working in conjunction with 343 with a Halo live action series, and it's I mean that's the biggest thing I'm hopeful for. I mean, Peter Jackson said he was going to do the same thing, so I won't believe it until I see it. And then was like Battlefield 4, and then it's the Assassin's Creed Thief. I mean, all right, I guess, and then Forza, and it's like everything is just another sequel. Like the biggest thing I'm interested in is Halo 5, and that's just because I'm a really big Halo fan, and Watch Dogs, and that's it. I mean, and Destiny, but I don't know enough about Destiny to really be excited for. It's like, okay, I've seen concept art. That is not a game.
And that's enough for a pre-order, so.
Yeah, maybe. So.
No, it's enough for it's enough to start early pre-orders for it just on the art alone that they showed at the VGAs. But the controller looks nice though.
Yeah, I mean, the control looks nice, except for that really weird placement of the home button, where it's like, okay, in the middle, that one was like ergonomic, it made sense. If you just wanted to bring it up, it's done. But they like placed it at the North Pole side of the controller, where it's like you have to make that mountainous trek to Mount Doom to throw in your lot, and it's like, oh, now I've found it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It does look a little odd now looking at it, but I see what they were going for on that, because whenever my sister and I are playing some games on there, when we would try to hit pause on her end, she would always hit the home button by accident while she hit the start button. So I could see how that'd be there, just so you don't hit the guide there by accident. It does happen a lot, believe it or not. You know what? I also found out something really interesting too on the 360. If you hold down the start button, it turns on your console. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh man, welcome to the 21st century, buddy. It's amazing here.
I feel like I discovered fire when I held down the start button. The 360 came out. Like, what the hell? Blasphemy! The dark arts side works here today. The dark arts.
And I do have to say that I am glad that they are. The feedback on the triggers that's an interesting thing of like, okay, it's depending on whether you're doing a racing game or a first person shooter, it will give you the different amount of feedback through the triggers through vibration, I guess. And I do like the fact they've redesigned the D-pad, because the one before was finicky, and the fact that like it's a circular pad with kind of slightly raised sections for the left, right, down, and up, which makes it kind of hard for fighting games. So at least that's been an improvement. But I don't understand why there's this big hubbub about like, okay, we need a new controller immediately, and we need to have it pristine and awesome and working well, and yeah, it does not. I mean, the control looks good. Like maybe the home button will grow on me. Who knows? I haven't gotten the control in my hands yet, but just that. And I was watching the Ghost, not Ghost Recon. I keep messing up. The Call of Duty Ghost trailer, where it looks like I thought Call of Duty looked derivative of itself before. Now it just looks derivative of everything else. It looks derivative of Gears of War, of Metro, of like Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, where there's no color, no interest. It is just. I'm fairly certain that they're just trying to destroy their own legacy, and people are just still buying it no matter what.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. It hasn't reached a point of just sports games where people get kind of tired of buying it every year because it's always usually the same.
Yeah,
but that hasn't quite happened. But no, the 360 controller is relatively still the same. It's got a nice little slap of coat on it. It's like a black coat on it. Nice little, still relatively the same design. Just slightly new D-pad in the home button location, and some things with apps there. A lot of it is just a takeoff of the Windows 8 for that home menu, pretty much. Which most I guess most newer laptops have Windows 8 on them. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I had to go back to 7. We'll see. I mean, it works fine for the console. That type of layout. I've already gotten used to the tiles and stuff. I don't mind the ads as much as others do. I know they're there, but I just ignore them. I don't really. It's just like a second thought to me. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not. I understand. I should be more upset. I'm not sure why I'm not. Maybe I just kind of, I guess, expected it. But it's a shame we're not having much of a, more kind of. I know these are new consoles, and they're mostly hyping up the part that is just newer hardware with newer features. But yeah, some of it is really interesting, and others is just a little redundant, and it just kind of a lot of it is just overshadowing what we should really be focusing on, which are the games, like you said, and just maybe more creativity especially in the gaming industry, and not just another way to nickel and dime you, really, that's what it's been kind of leading to for quite a while.
I mean, I understand you got to make money for a business to survive, but there's a difference between that and treating your customers like cattle who are just waiting to stab you in the back at every moment, like just having that thought in your mind, which is interesting. Just because thinking of a bovine trying to grab a knife is fairly funny in my mind. Just like, okay, would they put it in their mouth, try to do that? Like, where would they hide it in their udders, like while your back is turned and get out? Like, I don't know. And then I don't care about graphics anymore. I care about whether or not it's a good playing game, whether or not it's imaginative, and that's why out of all the new systems and such that are coming out, I'm looking most forward to what the Wii U has to offer, and I never thought I'd say that.
Well, what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that Bayonetta 2 exclusive, isn't it?
I won't say it is, but I won't say that it isn't either. But it is.
I know. But so far, are you just kind of indifferent about both Sony and Microsoft's consoles at the moment?
I'm indifferent, that's bordering on really angry, because these companies know better, and they still treat their customer base like dog turds. I mean, the only thing that is even kind of interesting now that I'm reading up on is the fact that the Xbox One will apparently be getting a quote-unquote historic IP from Rare. And that would be great, except Rare sucks now. Where these aren't the same people who've done, who did Banjo-Kazooie, who did the original Perfect Dark and GoldenEye. These are the guys who've done Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Perfect Dark Zero. And I can't even remember, like, the best thing that they did was Viva Pinata, and that was not their own IP. And I just think that it's just getting worse.
Right.
Oh, and also Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolt, which was just, oh my god, how could you line that up? Like, it's like, I don't know, it was like Charlie Brown and Lucy lining up that football kick where Rare's like, come on, audience, we know you really want this Banjo game, and then everyone's lined up for the game, like, yeah, it's gonna be awesome, and then they just pulled it away, and then they're on our backs.
Oh, Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, it's truly unfortunate that had to happen, and
needs to come back. Well, so far, it seems like you can only hope for maybe some more interesting announcements at E3 with those 360 Xbox One. It's going to be hard to get used to that name. Exclusive titles, but
I really hope they change it.
Yeah, it's not too late to change. Change is good.
Yeah, it's because I really want both of these. I want like the best consoles available, just so that they can breed more competition, more innovative things that are actually needed, more creative games out there, and it's really, really strange.
Yeah, I still think it's still too soon for these newer consoles, but I know I probably would. I will probably enjoy some of the newer features there. I do hope that they at least allow you transfer music over to via USB, because I've been playing some WWE 13 recently, and these wrestlers, they're always getting new theme songs, and it's nice to get the updated music on there, because the way I have to do it just seems so 2007. You have to buy a blank CD and then put the songs on there, and just rip the music onto the 360 just to get it done. And there's no other way to do it besides that. I think that's pretty lamers, to be honest with you. But we'll see. I mean, nothing wrong with some of the newer hardware-related capabilities that it has, and but also comes a burden. Some of the burdens that they'll have also with just the rumors speculating and just other reports coming in regarding just the overall business practices. It's just getting us all hot and bothered here.
Yeah, this is one of the most depressing news announcements. Even like when they had like really stupid press announcements, like, oh, we're going to be announcing something soon. Just we had a press announcement for the press announcement. And it's like, at least that was annoying, but it was never disheartening. With this one, it definitely feels like I don't know. This is going to go. This is going to go the opposite direction of good, where it's really. I mean, it's just really disheartening to see so much hopes and dreams being shattering apart and crashing to the ground. I cannot believe my eyes.
Too much expectations.
Yep.
Did they give a release date for this?
For the
Xbox One.
For the One?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, it's supposed to be launching sometime this year. I think it's supposed to be during the. I think it's supposed to be launching probably towards Christmas time, but don't hold me to that. It just seems.
I hear you. I still think it's still too soon, and maybe as it gets close to release day, maybe they'll change a couple things here and there. But for the most part, it doesn't seem to be anything indicating that there's always online. But they've been tiptoeing around that. But eventually, they'll probably get some sort of solid answer to it leading up to its release. But looking just at it so far, I'm not completely interested at both consoles right now, to be honest. But my opinion might change till then. Maybe I'll just hold off until a year and see where the support where the support is for the 360 up until that newer launch release of those consoles. But I think I might just get back into playing the games on the SNES again.
Yeah,
I think I'll just enjoy the rest of my life playing those.
It's strange how the Wii got the most flack this generation for, and Nintendo as well, for being like the most kiddie-based console out there, and not true to, and like the farthest away from the core of being, somebody who loves video games, but they turned out to be like the most dedicated to it. There's no stupid online passes for the Nintendo games. It's like full backwards compatibility for the most part. And, I mean, they have just this, great online store of all these different selections, and they're, I mean, it's just the weirdest time right now, where it's like, it was, the Xbox, PS2, and GameCube, they were just trying to one-up each other with games, and that was a, great renaissance. And then, like, the second one was, like, with the PS3, 360, and the Wii, it, like, even better. And the second part of that was like, oh no, what are you doing? Stop it, go back. Wait, we missed the exit. We're in Rhode Island now. What are you doing? And then it's just getting stupid. It really is. Oh gosh, it's just painful to think about, like, all the potential these game systems have. And I mean, like, they don't even. I mean, it's so strange because you don't have, movie executives touting, oh, we got this new 3D technology. Oh, we got these new Blu-ray players that will give you a nice, crisp-looking vision. Like, and they do that, of course, but they do those also in tangent with movies. They don't just announce the hardware of it all and then announce movies later. They say, like, oh, okay, well, you'll be able to enjoy the new Star Trek film in crystal clear IMAX. Like, oh, okay, that's awesome, because I'm interested in the Star Trek film. And then it's such a strange time, because, like, it's the only industry where what we're known for is no longer what these companies are focusing on.
Yeah, you do make a good point. Oh, goodness.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I had something and I lost it.
Star Trek?
No, Mr. Caffeine.
Because I saw that movie and I got some opinions on it.
Oh, yes. I was going to mention that. I did see that last weekend, and also Iron Man 3, which I texted you about on the whole Mandarin thing, which, goddamn.
Let's talk about something that actually makes us smile instead of frown.
Mr. Caffeine.
That would be great if just if I would immediately buy an Xbox One if that was the startup sound. Like, you know how, like, all the other consoles, like, have their own startup, like, wow, 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 or like the like the PlayStation has, like, the orchestra playing when it's starting up. Then the Xbox One, when it's starting up, just
instant purchase for me. That's the little things that put a smile on your face. Will get you purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did enjoy me some Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
good stuff. Even though I can understand why some comic book fans were upset about it, but at the same time you gotta let it go, because when it comes to comics to films adaptations, most of the time in some parts they're faithful, other times they're not. You can't just expect at this point anymore to be exactly like how they are in the comics. They have to be done in a way so that they're, I wouldn't say the word I won't use the word accessible, but I just did, but in a way where it makes sense to the person handling it. It's like their own interpretation of that character or series. Like it's with everything. Like comic books always have different interpretations of Batman. You gotta take it like that. So you just can't expect them to hold a vision similar to the comic books standards. So not a huge deal. I dug it for what it was, and it was an interesting twist on a villain. That's all I will say there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do we want to go into a spoiler talk?
We could. I mean, I don't really care, to be honest, but.
Well, I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since that movie has come out, and if people don't want to listen into the spoilery side, then they can just just skip this.
Yeah, I'll just edit it in there and put it in some sort of time you can skip forward to when we're talking about something non-spoiler. We could do that.
All right. I'd hate for you to do more work, man, but I would appreciate it.
Yeah, that's fine.
The following clip, CH and Splinter will discuss Iron Man 3 and Star Trek in great detail. If you do not want to be spoiled, fast forward 1 hour and 8 minutes.
And okay, so Iron Man 3, where we have the Mandarin played wonderfully by Ben Kingsley, who is just, he knocks it out of the park, because at first he comes across as this Osama bin Laden, but like well-educated and loquacious,
well-spoken.
Evil. I'm sorry?
Well-spoken.
Yes. Just this mastermind of evil, and like those 10 Rings terrorist videos were just, those were terrifying. Like Al Qaeda wants to get the guys who edited those segments together for we'll offer you $10,000 to come on out here to work on ours. Like, I think I'm good, but at first, that's the first you get of the villain, but then it's realized this guy's just an actor. He's just this coked out actor who is just completely out to lunch. He is has no idea where he is, and I love that, the fact that first off, I compel anyone to give me an Iron Man story in the comic books where Mandarin is not just an outrageous stereotype or a ridiculous villain, but actually a good character. Like the Joker has the Joker has the Killing Joke. What's it? Kraven the Last Hunter has Kraven's Last Hunt, and you have all these villains who are revealed to be really excellent characters in the comic books. There's none of that for the Mandarin. I mean, at the very least, he's threatening, but he's not a good character. And I mean, I like the fact that they just made fun of that, but just okay, he's just this creation. He's just this guy who personifies what we fear now in this day and age, which is attacks coming from the unknown, and and basically just being a part of this empty black hole of information.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic, and pretty well how they explained it. I think Guy Pearce said, after the whole Avengers thing happened, it would be much smarter for him to create this terrifying figure that if they were to find him, they would just he wouldn't give any information because he's so coked out, so he wouldn't kind of give him any accurate information there, and it was just a perfect just to swerve the blame to someone else, and he could still run things from behind the scenes. It was a very interesting take on how on a villain there. It was an interesting twist, and for some reason I don't know what it was, but I saw it coming. I didn't know what it was when I first saw it, but I saw it coming. It's could it be this? And then I was I knew it. It was pretty, but it was still pretty satisfying to see it unveil.
I mean, the unveil was just great because it is the most ludicrous and comical way possible. Where it's okay, he's just coming out of the bathroom and he's "Oh, have you birds known that that fortune cookies are not from America?" And I love that. And thinking about it, it's more terrifying that he's not the Mandarin and Guy Pearce is actually the Mandarin, because to me it's a lot more terrifying to have. What's more terrifying? This one terrorist guy who's blowing up, buildings and these so-called attacks for an ideology, or the guy who's abusing our current system that we're more than happy to let him take advantage of wounded veterans for his own greedy needs. I think that is much more terrifying than having, a terrorist allegory.
Oh yeah.
Where I don't think Bane in The Dark Knight Rises had the same effect.
Oh yeah, definitely having someone who is pretty obvious into what they want to, what they're doing, and being out there in the public, and just having it be something even more than that. That's just behind the scenes. That's more That's more terrifying than just knowing what you see on TV. Like you can never. It gives you that thought in your head. You can never really trust a lot of what you might see on TV, and they took the advantage of that 100%. The way they did it, was fantastic.
Yes, indeed, and I love the fact that the fight scenes are actually really interesting and fresh. Whereas I there are parts of Iron Man 2 I liked, but overall it was not that well executed. And one of the problems was...
I said this before. What I liked about 3 is that the ending was satisfying. The fight ending was a lot satisfying than both the previous Iron Man films. Everything was good. Prior to the ending fight scene where they build up these villains as very, very interesting and kind of forces to be reckoned with, and then just they end up getting taken down in 5 minutes. That was what took me out of the first Iron Man with Jeff Bridges there. That fight didn't last too long.
And the first Iron Man, I liked that fight because it was obviously that Tony was getting his ass handed to him by this kind of big superior combat model, but the second one, it was it's mostly just two dudes in suits of armor, so you don't know how much damage they're doing to each other. Where it's where they have the War Machine Iron Man fight, where it's they're punching each other, and I swear I heard the Rock'em Sock'em Robot noise of getting his head punched up and jolting out of his shoulders. There's that, or you could do something interesting. And what I love about this one is he's much more vulnerable now, where he's trying to, in the first scene where he's the Malibu house is being attacked and he's just rushing into his armor as soon as possible, where he's also trying to protect everyone there, and that's a really interesting twist. And the fact that he's being dragged underwater, and then the second fight scene where he's the parts of him are coming one by one, and that's really cool because he's got to learn how to fight on the fly with just the hand and the foot propulsion. And then the whole airplane chase, which was actually done in real life with real stunt doubles rather than CG, that was just great. And then the final scene where it's now he's facing off against enemies who can not only heat themselves up to 1 billion degrees Kelvin, but which is impossible. I know, I'm not a physicist, but where they can actually destroy his armor. Where it's that's a really interesting one. He's trying to go through in and out of these different armors, trying to inject himself immediately. It's I love that one.
Yeah, it's just an invulnerability of Tony in that flick, and just him throwing everything he had with all his suits at Guy Pearce, and him just tearing through them one by one. That was really awesome. And
oh my gosh, yeah. And also, Shane Black and the filmmakers, bless you for Gwyneth Paltrow in a sports bra. Just thank you from everybody with a Y chromosome, even the homosexual ones. We say thank you.
I agree wholeheartely there. Yeah, you're right. There's that scene where they're at the I think it was the refinery or whatever that was at the end. It did feel a lot like a Lethal Weapon movie for a second.
Yes, it did, and it also took place at Christmas because that's the Shane Black I know.
Yeah, great stuff there from Shane Black. Great dialogue all around throughout the whole flick. And I normally don't like kid actors in movies, but the kid they had in that one was really good. And back and forth they had with the back and forth they had with Tony was really good. And,
absolutely.
The part where he was saying how his dad left, and then he's don't be a pussy about it.
Yeah, or the one where he's just are you gonna leave me like my dad left me? Yep. Now get it out of the way. I love the fact that it's this he has to turn to this kid for help because he's trying to keep a low profile as much as possible, but he also just does not want to be around this kid, and so it reminds me of the Charlie Chaplin skit where he had this other kid actor, and he's just kind of kicking him away and trying to get away from as much as possible. Like I really like that dynamic, and I like the fact that it's much more down to earth than the second one, where the second one was trying to be, I don't know, very like huge and gravitas. Like this one's just like, no, it's just another day in the life of Tony Stark as a superhero, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. And the way it ended, do you think there might be any more of Iron Man in the future there, or we got to get some Avengers there, and then some Iron Man after maybe take a break after a while?
I gotta say, at the very least, Robert Downey Jr. is done with being Tony Stark in the Iron Man films. Like, maybe he'll come back for one more Avengers film, but I definitely feel like he's at the end of his tolerance for the character. Not tolerance, but just, he's had a good run, and I think he wants to end it on a very good note. He doesn't want to be like Shatner and just like be that one character that he can't escape from.
Oh yeah, it seems like that.
And it's also a lot of time, and Downey Jr. just had a kid, so I assume like he'll want to spend a lot more time with his family as well. And he's made enough money just to retire as is. And I mean, you have like a lot of the young people like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson who are more than happy to do more movies and take up the mantle of being kind of Marvel's big showstoppers. But it interests me to see how they're going to incorporate these actors growing out of their roles and wanting to leave and getting new people to replace them, because Marvel's not afraid of replacing actors, as we've seen with Terrence Howard being replaced by Don Cheadle. And by the way, Don Cheadle, I like the fact that he buffed up a lot for his role in Iron Man 3, whereas like the second one, he's like, okay, I think he's a better actor, but he certainly doesn't look more military than Terrence Howard. Like this one, okay, I could definitely see a lot more of that. And then the same, and the big one with Edward Norton being replaced by Mark Ruffalo, who, I like Edward Norton. I was about to say Eddard Stark. Like, that's not it. That is in Game of Thrones. And that is not even close. Sean Bean as Bruce Banner.
Oh,
he
man.
dies at the very end.
Yeah, don't do that. He's always that guy that dies in movies. There'll be another clip to add into his killing compilation.
His montage of death.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, Iron Man 3 ended on a good note. So I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind having a break from those films. I definitely did feel a bit a bit of kind of a bit tired of the Iron Man. After 2, I wasn't quite hyped to see 3, but 3 did a lot to reinvigorate that series. With the whole, especially with the Avengers there, and then having this film come out, and having some of the writing and directing by Shane Black really did help that film, and it's and what it was about, and having it be pretty consistent from the previous film. So it was really good, really good.
I'm looking forward to Thor: The Dark World and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, especially since now that Avengers made so much bank in Phase 1 of the Marvel movies, did so well that Disney and the shareholders will be ponying up a lot more cash for the sequels, because they the reason why they filmed out in the middle of God knows where. It's like Thor, this huge epic about this Norse god. Yeah, we're gonna film it in Arizona and in the desert. It's because of the fact that they have they didn't have too much money to throw around, but now that they do, they can extravagant have a little bit more extravagant spending, and so I'm really looking forward to those movies, and I certainly hope that they're good, great, and
you'd expect that they put in some cash after how much Avengers made, but we'll see that definitely a lot more to come from Marvel there. And Warner Bros. Is pretty slow with their DC stuff. It's been I think this Man of Steel is gonna either make them or break them.
Yeah, they already had a pretty big false start with Green Lantern, which was, oh my god, that's like everything that Iron Man was not, that movie is. Where it's like they try to get like Ryan Reynolds, to be this cocky, playboy who's also, really sympathetic, and that didn't work out because the writing wasn't there, and the villain was stupid. It was giant yellow space diarrhea, and the guy with the giant scrotum for a forehead, and just it was really, really, God. I mean, they could not have made a worse. Well, I wouldn't say that. That they really began on a really bad start with Green Lantern, and it was obvious they were trying to set up a larger universe with the I can't remember who that black lady was, who was supposed to be kind of the Nick Fury of that universe, where who was going to like get all the heroes together, and this one was just like, wow, that was just bad. But Man of Steel, that's gonna, as you said, that's gonna make him or break him.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, the more I see of it, I'm more interested to see it. Hopeful about it. I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but I would like to see a pretty decent Superman film, at least. Maybe I'm just not a huge fan of the character. I thought that he was really well implemented in the Dark Knight Returns comic book there. Just his whole just his whole character dilemma there that got in the way with Bruce Wayne's shenanigans. So that's what must have made him a good, really good character in that. But we'd have to see. So do you want to talk about Star Trek there?
Yeah, sure. Let's delve into some Star Trek.
Some films. I'm not a huge Trekkie, but I do enjoy the films. Don't have a lot of Star Trek background here, but I do know that at least that there were some callbacks to the Wrath of Khan there.
Yeah,
I will say that. And I don't care if this is spoilers, but there's some Leonard Nimoy action again.
Yeah, I mean, talk about phoning in an acting role where it was literally just like over Skype.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Like they didn't even need that in the film, where it's like, do you know this guy Khan? Yeah, watch out for him. Okay, thanks.
That was just complete fan service, and it didn't help that his dentures was talking over his speak, so I had that in my head.
Also, the fact that like the folds of his skin that have been drooping down onto his face also kind of got in the way of his mouth, so it like mumbled a bit more than it's like, well, we have Khan, like watch us. All right, apparently we gotta watch out for this Khan guy. Am I deciphering that right? And I think it's a really weird beast, because it's like the 2009 film said like, okay, we're going to be distancing ourselves from the original Star Trek series and do our own thing, but it's reliant on so many plot elements that they don't borrow, they don't pay homage to, they outright steal. It's like the whole scene with I was saying Spock and Kirk, and so I was about to say Cock, but that's not his name. But it's when Kirk's dying and Spock does the whole like Khan whole thing. That was just like straight out lifted from the Wrath of Khan. It was, and the problem is that there's no emotional weight to it. It doesn't feel like they've earned that right to do it. At least with the old film, it was kind of cheesy, but it was also like, okay, it was at least perfect for that moment. And unlike Wrath of Khan, I don't know what the story is about. It's not like, okay, it might be about Kirk understanding he needs to respect the chain of command, but what he does just completely ignore them the entire time, and then gives a speech about them at the end, like, oh no, we need to be with Starfleet. It's like, what?
Yeah, there were a lot of plot elements in there all over the place. That with the Kirk storyline there, and then the whole thing with Khan as well, with him and his I think his crew that were in those missiles. We're still on the whole spoiler talk, so there's going to be a nice chunk that people will fast forward to.
Why did he put them in missiles?
I have no idea, but It was. I mean, it was entertaining. I wouldn't say I loved it. It was a entertaining film. It wasn't terribly written or anything. I definitely would prefer watching a film like that other than the other kind of popcorn flicks that they have out nowadays. But I probably would say the original was probably a better written than the this one was. But there were definitely some good action scenes and just visually well shot, and just a lot of the visual effects were really good. A lot of it reminded me of Mass Effect. I wish, like, when I was looking at some of the futuristic cities, and like, God damn, if only they made a Mass Effect movie, I'd be so excited. It's just to see those, just to see like the camera pan up into the up in the skyline of this futuristic city. It was like, God damn, and no, it was. I didn't know too much about what the whole film was about. I just kind of went in knowing this was the sequel to the Star Trek, and was a pleasant surprise to see some Peter Weller in there as well. Yeah,
RoboCop himself. I'm pretty sure. Spoiler alert, obviously. But after they kill him, I'm pretty sure that they just scooped him all up and put him back into the robot suit, just to like, okay, now you go hunt. You can go hunt for Khan.
Might as well. The revenge of Weller.
But it's also reliant on a lot of old cinematic routine stuff that I really don't want to see, like the fact that, like, oh, this is the bad guy ship, obviously, because there are no women here, and it's like, are you serious, man? Come on,
yeah,
we are.
That.
It's like, it's 2013. The least you can do is like be gender equal. It's like, okay, women can't ever be evil villains ever, or henchmen or henchwomen, if you'd like, and it's just a damn shame. And I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I was really not upset by, but just like really disappointed that they were doing. I did not like the 2009 reboot. Boo for me. But just I'm more fascinated by the fact that I was never a big Trekkie. I watched The Next Generation and some of the original Star Trek films, but I never was a huge follower of the franchise. And then with the 2009 reboot, I can understand why they did it, because the lore of Star Trek is kind of dense. They want to make it for a new generation, but they got away from what gave Star Trek its identity, which is kind of dealing all about morality and ideas and discussing ramifications of ideologies, and like that was fascinating to me. Like the Wrath of Khan is all about that, and then this one is just running around shooting things with loud noises. Like, this is not. This is the prettiest Star Trek film I've ever seen, but it's also the loudest. My eardrums were bleeding after this film, just because everything is shouting, whether it be visually or just auditorily. And not only that, like, even when they have quiet scenes, they don't have quiet scenes. They just have like moments of silence before, like, there's a giant explosion or someone gets punched in the face to end the quiet scene. It's never just like a slow transition.
Yeah, that's a lot of yelling. In that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of it did seem. I wouldn't know, but I could tell that some of it was. There were a couple of points in there where it was just fan service, and so like you said, I wasn't. I don't know too much of the context of Star Trek. I haven't watched any of the Star Trek shows or anything, but like you said, that you were mentioning, those different themes and moral ideas that they brought with it in the show. It didn't seem like that they have much of that in this one. It was just a lot of just shooting shit. So they didn't really get into any of the moral dilemma of space.
No, of space, and it's a. I mean, that meant seeing. I thought, like, okay, 2009 Star Trek reboot, whatever. I was not a big fan of that, but like, now that they set up this new universe, they can do interesting things, and like, oh no, they're going to just do Khan, which J.J. Abrams is the biggest freaking liar in the entire film industry for saying that it's not Khan. He went, like, even before people asked him if it was Khan, like, he was going, it's not Khan. Don't worry, people. We're not doing Khan. We're doing something new. And then that just was not the case. And then
it's Khan spelled differently.
It's with a silent E at the end.
That's how he got away with it.
And it's, I mean, it's. I would love it if they would try to do something else, and like there are storylines and characters who don't need to be here. Like, who's the new chick that they have on the Enterprise? Carol.
It was Peter Weller's daughter that ended up being on there on the ship. You know, that whole thing. Yeah. She didn't need to be on there, really.
Well, she needed to be. I mean, how else are we going to have gratuitous fan service in there without her there? It's like like, I don't even remember why she was changing, but she was like changing in a shuttle bay with Kirk, and then like he turns around and he and the audience sees her in her underwear, and she's going, "What? What are you looking at?" It's like, "Oh, are you really going for this?" I mean, there are porn videos that are less gratuitous than what you just showed me, and I mean, I'm really, it's just, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, is it?
I hear you.
But anyway, it's a pretty looking film. I'll say, like, all the design, all the artistic design is wonderful. I mean, it's really cool. I like the fact that Earth looks fairly different than like all the other types of Earth I've seen, because like it's not post-apocalyptic or under like military rule. It's like, oh, okay, this actually looks like a pretty interesting place to live.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, because you really saw that on the forefront there. Because before the movie starts, there's already 2 or 3 futuristic films that are like each, you know, each futuristic world is post-apocalyptic. We got the After Earth. We got that. Ben Affleck movie. I mean, not Ben Affleck. Matt Damon movie.
Elysium.
Elysium, which looks interesting, and just this slew of post-apocalyptic sci-fi films that are just that the worlds aren't very pretty to look at, but they're pretty desolate. But it was nice to see a change of pace in that. It was Star Trek, but it's fine. I personally thought it was fine. It was an alright film. And from the way you've described it, doesn't seem to do much to differentiate itself from the original source material. Much more just borrowing, well, as you say, stealing a lot of its elements to try to just do them in just this postmodern era of films right now.
Yeah, I like the Star Trek. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but when I did watch it, I liked the fact that it was actually a much slower paced adventure than, say, Star Wars or any of the kind of contemporaries where it's like, oh, action all the time, and then not even like the original Star Wars films weren't even about that. But this one is just breakneck every moment. Like there's panic on top of panic, because like we need to shoot off of this, get out, like we need to, in order to get to the other ship, we need to launch ourselves from this ship. Oh, there's an asteroid belt. Oh, the other side is conveniently occupied by that one lone security guard who just sneaks up on Scotty out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, Kirk's shield crack. Oh, we can't find Khan. Oh, it's like that's just too much. Like, when you have a crisis on top of crisis, it just becomes exhausting.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot of that.
I was not a huge fan. Let's leave it at that.
Understandable. Not questioning your judgment on that. Opinions are like noses. Everybody got one.
Yes, indeed. Or it's like opinions are like butts. Everybody's got one, and all of them stink if they're not yours.
That's right. Unless you wipe.
Yeah. Yes, key. Indeed. That's very important.
That's key. So other than our movie discussion there, have you been playing anything new? Anything maybe replaying? I guess we should mention this. I don't know if we would get this started right away, but I know you and I brought up the idea of how we could do some sort of kind of retrospective reviews on some games here.
Yes, indeed.
I think it'd be interesting if we play and talk about certain games either once every 2 episodes, or kind of do these little kind of homework assignments. I wouldn't call them homework, but they're some type
I gotta play Splinter Cell again.
Some type of assignment that we could reconvene and talk about, because I haven't looked at the schedule yet, but it seems like there's going to be a couple, a month or two with I like to call it gaming drought, and this is probably the good time, better than never, to probably do some gaming drought videos like I used to do. Games you should play during the gaming drought. I should probably do that. And it would be interesting just to go back and play either some games we didn't review or didn't just probably get into whole detail about, but maybe start off with something and maybe reconvene back the next episode or two whenever we get it done. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you mentioned Chaos Theory. Would you want to do that first?
Sure, since that's the one that we always love to bring up about in our reviews and all of our topics and discussions, I'd love to.
Yeah, we always bring that up in some way, shape, or form. So it would be nice to replay that again. I still have my GameCube, so it'd be nice to start playing that from the beginning until the end and discuss some certain plot elements and different levels. There's definitely a lot of interesting levels to talk about, and just all the other NPC character moments that they have as well, that you don't see a lot in a lot of developers take time in writing dialogue for NPCs.
Oh yes, hi. I'm sorry, for some reason it cut out.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to say that there was something in the game that I just discovered in one of the early levels where it's like it was another alternate path to get into the main area. It's like, wow, I haven't seen this before ever. I like just the level of detail and the amount of choice you have in the game is great. So perfect.
Oh yeah, definitely worth getting into on that. So I guess we could start it off with Chaos Theory and then reconvene back probably the next episode or two if we happen to finish it before the next episode or in 2 episodes from now. That'd be a good segment there to get into. So we'll definitely do that. So if anyone wants to play along with us, you could start off, boot up your GameCube or PC and play Chaos Theory, and then if you like, you can send us some of your thoughts on what your thoughts are on the Chaos Theory. Looking back now, kind of a retrospective discussion here. It'll be really nice to get into there. On terms of some of the games I've been playing, I just finished Red Dead Redemption a couple days ago, which was really nice. Oh, man, I really... it's one of those things where you really... rarely do I ever replay a game and have the same experience or a greater experience than the first time I played it. And Red Dead Redemption was one that I got a hell of a lot pleasure playing through it again. Just... really appreciating its scenery and just the overall atmosphere, and just like I already mentioned, because I walked to a destination that was like half across away from the map, so I did that in a sitting there. That's how great the atmosphere was. Just like noticing these little things here and there, and just watching the sun go down and go back up as you reach your destination, and then running into just random NPCs and doing all that. It really is a true form of open world that was really done well by Rockstar there. It was a good balance of things. I know people have mixed things about Mexico, but I didn't completely mind Mexico. There were some really good missions there, and some interesting side missions as well, which if you really get into those side missions, they're really an experience and a half there. Especially there were some really depressing ones as well. The one with where you stumble upon a guy and a prostitute. I think she was, and you buy her off of him for like $200, and then just so she could get away from him. And the next time you reconvene and find that side quest location of that same thread of side quests, like in the end she ends up getting murdered by him, and he's burying her. So it's like so depressing. That guy was a piece of work.
I could not kill that guy fast enough.
Oh yeah, I just red-eyed him from head to toe.
I mean, it was that and the Edgar Ross scene where I was like, all right, you gonna get it now.
Yeah, it really...
Of just pure...
of just pure revengeance.
Yes, like that's where the original term of revengeance came from. Where it was just so great to, especially with certain characters. But it is a great game because it's not only just a Western, but it touches upon almost every single genre of the Western. It's fantasy Western with a lot of the more supernatural elements of the game. It's deconstruction Western. It's spaghetti Western. It's kind of modern day serious Western, where there's like even stuff like but to go back to the supernatural side, where the mission of I Know You, the one where you're talking to the man with the stovepipe hat who seems to know everything about you, and he doesn't reveal the slightest hint of who he is. That's just fantastic. Not just that's just like excellent storytelling right there, and just wonderfully written characters with the Rockstar charm, but they don't get crass. It's never, it's not the Grand Theft Auto 4 writing of, we'll just throw in whatever joke we can come up with. It doesn't matter if it's appropriate for the time or if it's really, interesting. And I like the fact that it's a Rockstar protagonist who actually gets called out on being, the problem with Nico is that he was so neutral. He didn't have a personality. And then the first 5 minutes, the Bonnie who just says are you just trying to avoid talking and actually having a firm opinion on something to avoid having a personality? It's oh wow, these guys were more critical on their own writing than other critics were. And I thought it was just a magnificent game, and that would also be a great one to talk about.
Oh, definitely. It was definitely the way it was structured. It was also what helped John Marston be a better character than Nico, because it was a Western. So you would have to, go into situations where you would have to shoot other people just to survive it. And like in Grand Theft Auto, there was not a lot of reasoning other than just, hey, you do that and that's it. He's all right, I'll go shoot that guy. Yeah. And but with
or even worse. I'm just saying, even worse is the fact that you have Nico Bellic, who's I killed women and children and I'm such a bad person. And then, in a mission, he kills 70 people and he doesn't bat an eye at it. It's okay, there's obviously some ludonarrative dissonance right there.
Mm-hmm. And also the plot as well. He was. He didn't have a choice in the matter with the things he had to do, and he also had to do a lot of favors for people just to get information he wanted, just so he would protect his family. And it was just a lot of that throughout the whole game, which was really he started to really develop as more of a character, and you get an idea of what he was like, during his outlaw days, and just how he was trying to get redemption for the things he'd done. And a lot of people just don't seem to really believe him, especially those federal agents were just a piece of garbage. Always just criticizing him for being a killer. Is I'm doing everything you told me to, and then all this thing of him being pulled into this endless loop with them, which he never really was going to get out of. And there was a lot of dialogue, especially the side quests as well, where it hinted at he was gonna. Which I didn't notice at first. It was really foreshadowing his death. So it was it was still a pretty powerful moment when he ended up getting shot up by Ross and the other the army pretty much. And it also got me thinking whether were they there to kill him or were they there to take him away from his family and to do some favors. And I was it that, or was it just they were going to kill him? It seemed like to me that they were going to come back for him in order to do more things, and then force him to do things. And then I think John Marston realized that was going to happen. He's like, fuck this! I'm going to start shooting them up, and I know I'm going to get killed, but I'm just going to go get my family away from this. And he ended up getting his own redemption, but not really for himself, but not really for his family, really. It seemed like that. I don't know. I may have missed something part. Maybe there's some other quest that you can do, but you never really got an idea exactly what kind of person Jack was, and if he ended up turning into that same lifestyle as his dad. It wasn't really not sure if it was made clear on that, but it seemed like he might have just ended up being like him as well. I'm not sure, but
well, you played the epilogue ending, right?
Yeah, I did the one where you shoot Edgar Ross, right? Or is there more to
yes,
it?
And I mean that's a really powerful moment, and I think you're right in the fact that you don't really get to know Jack that well. I get the hints that he still resents his dad because he left him for so long, and he's been introduced to this world of violence at a really young age, in this kind of unfair world of the government using his father and his family as a tool for their own ends. But at the very end, he still has this innocence that his father preserved in him, and like the last thing he wanted was not for him to turn to the lifestyle that he had, which is the entire thing with the Edgar Ross ending is like, okay, will he still go into? It's like that wonderful ambiguous ending of, okay, will he still follow in his father's footsteps and become another outlaw, or is now that it's done, will he stop? And it's like a really interesting look at just the dynamics of violence, and will it be always a never-ending circle? And it doesn't provide an answer for that, which I really commend them for doing in a really great way.
Yeah, because I guess that's how it really is in real life. It's just very ambiguous. There's no
very gray.
There's no either or. Yeah, very gray. But yeah, it was really great story, and had some great pacing there, and some interesting characters, and just the overall world they created was really well done, and just the whole mechanic of getting from one place to the other on a horse, it just worked very well. It was a lot of fun to go back on. Just good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and I really gotta say it's still my favorite Rockstar game. I think they really haven't even come close to beating that kind of quality yet, and I certainly hope that they do something as good of a quality as Red Dead Redemption.
I hope so. It was the pinnacle of what they try to accomplish, which is trying to make it an open world and also a game at the same time. So you have to blend the two in order to mix it well. And then they kind of stumbled there with GTA 4, just making it a game and also an open world experience that makes it make a continuity there with the character as well.
Yeah.
Goodness.
It's a tough thing to juggle as well, with the open world nature as well as kind of an overall arcing story. You don't want it to feel like, okay, why am I doing these things? This has nothing to do with the story, as well as I'm only doing the story. Why can't I do more things? So this sort of mentality. Yeah,
and just to be in a Western and encountering and doing this, and this having side quests made sense, because you're always encountering different people, and while you're doing the main quest, you can do those side quests as well. It was a interesting blend of things that worked well for that game and for the time period that it was presented in. It really helped a lot as well to maintain the balance of open world and just having it be overall just not just be a complete fetch quest with each side quest. And each mission had context to them as well, so it made sense.
Yeah.
Definitely a few characters that John Marston could have just avoided doing their whole quest line by just torturing them and seeing that other side to him. But he was determined to be kind of a changed man, and he saw kind of the respect, I guess, or just overall kind of I guess. I don't know how to put it, but with Wes Dickens, he saw that kind of guy he wanted to be kind of respected, not be a swindler, but kind of sort of be this kind of upstanding dude, which he was kind of putting on the whole time.
A really upstart businessman, and
right.
I guess it's because since John honestly believes like he can better his own life, that other people can be like that too. That there's still redeeming qualities in everyone, and Yeah, and that's an interesting character trait. So I think John Marston is one of the best written characters in any medium. Not just video games alone, just because of how well his personality was defined.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's also good that they didn't you couldn't do anything with John Marston that will just change it completely as a character or contradict him. Like when you go into places where there are a lot of prostitutes offering you up some services there, he would always reject it and say that he's married, which is really cool. That you couldn't really do any of the fun stuff like you do in GTA 4, but it was cool. I like that, and there's certainly some. Looking back on, there's certainly some chemistry there with Bonnie. It could, if they gotten together, it would have just completely changed the story if they went that way. But the way they did it was really well done.
Absolutely, it is just a wonderful game, and I recommend it to anybody out there who's listening. And just please, just enjoy it. It's awesome.
Good stuff. So. Just finished that, and just been playing. Just got into Minecraft on the 360.
Oh, nice!
So far, I just made a house, and I have a underground layer filled with zombies at the moment.
Nice, very nice.
What I will do with that is to be determined.
You'll probably be using the chair at some point in time, right? Just bringing out the old. The chair with the strap heels.
Well, most definitely. doing some experiments on there. There's a Slender Man in that game. In that Minecraft, they call it Enderman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a.
If you look at it, he starts chasing
nice. you. But very, very cool. Very cool. Nice play on the old Slender Man kind of mythology there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, kind of enjoying that. I spent like 2 hours just making the house, and it's not really all that fancy because I was clearing out the weed. I was getting all the grass sorted out and putting some tiles in, and putting the nice exterior there. I got a nice see-through glass window up on the top of the ceiling, which is pretty nice.
Mm.
I named it Splinter's Crib.
Very nice. It sounds like you're living a better lifestyle than I currently got.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. Building that house.
Well, hey, what? All you gotta do is show up on MTV Cribs, and then you're good to go.
It's crib worthy. I just hope that any of the local officials don't come by and start giving me fees for building a house without a permit. That would suck. That would be a whole new game.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid paying taxes.
Yeah, that's what I expect. That's what's gonna happen in The Sims if EA has their plan set out for it.
Most likely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's about it for me in terms of playing anything. What's playing anything new or anything on the back burner?
Well, for me, I'm actually playing through. First off, I'm finishing up my Let's Plays of both Crimson Skies and DMC Devil May Cry. I've just uploaded some videos today, and then getting that done. And then I've also started playing a little bit of Metro Last Light, and I enjoy it so far. I think it's very good. I don't think it really totally usurps Metro 2033, especially with it's strange because they still adhere to the characters don't talk during gameplay thing, which is kind of weird after we've been given Halo 4, Bioshock Infinite, and Darkness 2, where it's the characters talk during the gameplay, and it's just it really is fine. Where it's like, okay, people can understand, like, oh, okay, I got you. Where it's but now, like, they really adhere to that, and it's strange because, like, people will ask him his opinion, and they'll just be quiet, like, oh, okay, I guess that's I take your silence by this thing. It's like, wait, why are you quiet now? I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. I've heard that the character doesn't talk during gameplay and only in the cutscenes. It's kind of strange there. Yeah, I think if I mean,
if it's not,
we've reached a point where I think you can make a faceless protagonist work with a voice there. They did it with Bioshock Infinite, and maybe it's just I don't know. It's still on that same mentality of having you absorb information, but it always ends up being pretty awkward when they're having one-sided conversations, especially with games like Half-Life have that a lot. A lot of one-sided conversations.
Oh yeah.
Seems I don't know. Maybe sometimes it could work, and it seems like it's a stylistic choice sometimes, but also just it comes off. Some games it comes off a bit lazy.
Yeah, it does, and it only works in a few circumstances, and the ones that are the most powerful in terms of using it have been Portal and the original Bioshock, the Portal series and Bioshock, because it's not about character interaction; it's about exploration, and the game is not about other characters talking to you with the intent of you responding back. Like Gladys in the Portal series just wants you dead, and so she's just mocking you the entire time. And with Bioshock, you're basically playing the role of a detective, where you're just trying to go around this world, find out what's wrong, and try to get back to the surface. And you don't need... And there's character interaction, but they always need you to do something, so that doesn't require you to be an active character. Whereas in Bioshock Infinite, you're a character with a great arc, and that would have just been awkward if you could not talk the entire time. And I just think that's a staple mark of the genre that needs to go away.
Definitely. I guess some creative writing there, man. So, I probably could write something. Get some of that writing skills.
Well, it's. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, just like when the last Half-Life entry came out, episode 2, which I liked, but once again, Silent Protagonist really irks me. It's been like 5 years since we've seen the last entry, so when they come out, they'll be a completely changed genre, because the first-person shooter has come so far since then. Mm-hmm. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Valve does for Half-Life 3, since they're not finishing Half-Life Episode 3. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Now, how will they do that if they don't have the Episode 3? They just make Episode 3 3? That makes sense?
No, I'm pretty sure it'll be like half. They Valve, they can never count to 3, so it's like Dota 2, Team Fortress 2. I'm fairly certain that they'll find some other game to make a second sequel out of, rather than working on the third game for another franchise. So, I don't know. To me, I think Valve is a great company, but for Half-Life series, I don't know where they're going to go.
Right. Yeah. I see.
And then it's strange because in Metro Last Light, there's a tiny bit of spoiler stuff where you get to control other characters besides Artyom, and who's your main character, who doesn't speak during the gameplay, but they do speak during gameplay. And it's like, why in the world would you do that and then not do that for your main character? And there's a whole romantic love situation where that comes out of left field. There's no development or build-up for that. But then again, hey, it's the apocalypse. I guess people just immediately take to any romantic interest, because who knows if you're going to live tomorrow.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's when all the love hormones start kicking in. When it's the end of the apocalypse, and in the Matrix 2, that's how it is.
I mean, it's like Neo and Trinity were just like, hey, listen, we don't got a lot of time here, so let's get to the room and get going at it.
Exactly. So, other than that, you're just doing just some of the Metro Last Light there.
Yep. Just Metro Last Light. I'm probably gonna exchange it in once I'm done with it, because although I do enjoy it, I'm not seeing a whole lot of interesting replay that I would be hugely enamored for. Like same with Metro 2033.
Here's pretty short.
And just finishing up the Let's Plays of my other 2 games with DMC and Crimson Skies.
Fantastic. We gotta keep that locked there, man. We gotta put some links for the YouTube channel. I've been keeping up with those recent Let's Plays, so very good to hear that they're reaching their finale.
Yes, indeed, and I got another subscriber, and he kindly asked me a question, and that just makes my day when people ask me questions directly of just anything. I love attention. Any press, you know.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I do get a couple of questions or just random comments on past videos I did. And it's like when I look at it, it's like, oh, I don't remember doing this video. I don't know what you're talking about. I have to look at it. It's, oh, okay, I know what you mean. Because I did a video of the BioShock trailer, so I pretty much just added the sound effects of the Wicker Man, and then people. I don't know. Some people probably maybe didn't see the original trailer, but people were questioning: Is that a part of the trailer? Not the bees. I thought it was so funny.
Well, you know, some people they don't see they don't get all the Nicolas Cage references, and they don't see the original trailer either. So sometimes they ask silly questions.
And silly questions, I do welcome. Don't get me wrong. So do enjoy that.
Yes, speaking of which, ladies and germs, please, if you have any inklings to send us some questions, please do. We're always receptive to our wonderful audience, and we'd love to answer any questions you have.
Very good, very good. I haven't checked today, but it seemed like we don't have any good questiones this week, which is fine. It's always makes things interesting. Probably ask ourselves our questions and see what happens, but. Yeah, I mean, we did some good discussions here on some movies we saw, and a bit on the Xbox One. I do apologize if I didn't have as much information regarding the whole thing, because I didn't get to see the press conference there. I just read up on what I could. But
I mean, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on there besides what Microsoft has already announced.
Yeah, I've only just read a bit snippets, on Destructo, and when I loaded up the 360 there, they had a whole kind of a section there. Some of the features they have for it, like the Connect voice commands of turning on the console, which is depending on conversations you're having, if it picks it up, it'll just turn on automatically, which would be weird. Like Xbox on. What? That's weird.
Yeah. Xbox, open internet. No. Don't open it that in front of my parents. Close that one. Close it Delete
down.
History.
Shut down. Yeah, so, we did.
Emergency destruction protocol.
Self-destruct. That's a good feature. I think I'd get that.
Yes, indeed.
But you got to get a warranty on it first.
Yep. Knowing Microsoft, it'll be about several different iterations of the Xbox One before they finally get one that doesn't explode. So,
hopefully they resolve the issues with that, because I don't want to buy any more than 3 Xboxes in my lifetime. I've already done that before. But
very true.
We'll see what happens, but other than that, I think we're pretty good. We're good to go to wrap up here, unless you had any kind of questions yourself that we could discuss in a further way, like some sort of topics or just something random. I did listen to the new Daft Punk album. That's good.
Oh yeah.
Very good stuff.
Yeah, Lucky is an awesome song.
Yeah, that's definitely worth checking out, that album, and the single as well. Yeah, some good old Daft Punk.
They're one of the bands who I still listen to this day, who just keep on going strong.
Definitely, even though they have a extremely long gap between albums, but that's fine. You don't want them to, you don't want to get overburned by them, and then when they do release one, it's always a pleasant surprise to know that they put out something new and that they been at least working on it for a couple of years, and actually have thought to them instead of just pumping them out every year, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
But
very, very nice. And same thing with them, Crooked Vultures. I really want them to release another album, but they'll do it in their own damn time. So just looking forward to that.
Yes, they don't got time for that.
No, nobody got time for that.
So yeah, I guess that'd be a good time then any to wrap up, unless you want to get into any other topics there. But we don't have any questions for this week, which is wait a second. Now that I think about it, I think we did have one from last week that we didn't get to answer. It was a last minute submission. So when we were recording the podcast, this question was submitted during that time. But let me pull that up real quick. So we're gonna need to stall.
No worries.
Let's see. Yeah, 130 episode 134. I do want to let you guys know to check that out. And let's see.
Yes, indeed.
My goodness, where is it? Okay, 134, and I think I do have another one through Twitter as well. This may be a joke question, but I'll accept it whatever, regardless. But let me get the one from last episode here, and it's from Steve Rome. Good old recent. Good old recent winner of the Tomb Raider. Is that what you sent him for that for the last contest we had?
Yes, indeed.
And his question is.
Yes, and thank you very much for your patience, Steve.
So his question is, what's a good size TV for playing video games? I think anything beyond the 32-inch is pretty nice. Because currently I do have a 32-inch.
32-inch sounds nice.
It's pretty substantial.
Oh, nice, very nice. I hope you bring that out to the ladies on the date. Just like, hey, have you seen my 32-inch? Let me just whip this out. Ah, no, this 32-inch, silly. Oh,
man. Indeedy.
I am hilarious. Yeah, but I mean, just like whatever, like do your measurements and requirements. Make sure that's a TV that's easy to put up and take down. Something that's not going to be obtrusive, and also get something that's true HD. If you really want to get into HD gaming, like get something that's like 1080p. Don't go for the 720p nonsense or the 480. Like you definitely go for the 1080p. So just remember that, and don't let anyone say like, "Oh, why don't you get upgrade to the 2K?" Because the 2K is basically the same thing as 1080. And
well, the 360 only goes up to 1080, so it'd be counterintuitive to get one that's higher above that.
Well, not just like you're right, absolutely, but also just like the TVs that like go up to 4K. Where it's like, trust me, just go to a TV that's 1080 and you'll be happy, and not 1080i, 1080p, and you'll be happy.
Yeah, I only got up to 720, but I mean, it looks nice, compared to just standard 480p. When I had to go to that for a couple of days because my HDMI cable got ripped, so I had to go back to the standard 480p, and man, what a difference! What a difference that makes. But yeah, I mean, have you ever seen any of those? I don't know if you have one, but have you seen those TVs that whenever they play movies at them, I always see them. I always see these at Best Buy. They look too. I don't know. They look too HD or too clean for my taste. Like it just seems like it looks like it's a behind the scenes video.
Yeah. There's something about especially at the frames per second that goes on. Like, the magic number is 24 for films because that's what we just magically decided. That's how good it looks on screen, and for everything else, it looks like a bit too jarring, a little too realistic, a little too like a 1970s BBC show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely seen those. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, but yeah, just seeing those as you pass by just look a bit odd, so it's hard to really get used to them. But you know, Peter Jackson's gonna make. Was he gonna make 48 frames per second a thing?
He's certainly trying because you put that in the last Hobbit movie. I don't even know if they're going to do it in the next Hobbit movie. It'll be interesting to see if they'll just not do it anymore because people were a bit lukewarm on the reception. But yeah,
right. So thanks for the.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the question there, Steve Room.
Yes, thank you, Steve Room.
I think any size above 32 is good. If it's a thin TV,
Absolutely.
if it's a thin TV that doesn't weigh a lot, which a lot of TVs are pretty thin and don't weigh a lot, so you're good to go on that end. So I might as well
and definitely go for.
Definitely go for.
I was just saying that you definitely want to go for LCD and not plasma because plasmas burn out within 4 years. So if you definitely want to get something a little bit on the cheaper end but still looks really good, go for LCD.
Oh yeah,
that will also last a longer time.
Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody who has plasma, but yeah, I do know that they burn out.
It was a thing, but I guess not anymore.
Yeah. What's that?
Yep.
What's that one TV that Sulu used to advertise? It had yellow in the color now. Was it some newer television?
I don't remember, but I do just remember George Takei just looking at the camera going, "Oh my!" Just because that's his catchphrase now, and yeah, I don't remember. It's like apparently it's supposed to look a heck of a lot better because it's like it's like a secondary color now added to it, so it gives the world more liveliness. So it was
seems like a Peter Monalou pitch right there.
Yes, all you need to do is now to be controlling a cart and buggy while you're doing it, and then it'll be perfect.
Exactly. So, just another.
Watch trees grow as the years go by.
Just another question here. We could wrap up. I got this from Twitter from the good old Christian here from the Better Gaming Bureau. And,
hey, Christian!
His question is boneless or boneless or wing. How do I phrase this? Boneless or wait, what? I don't even know what I'm saying.
On a bone?
Yes. Boneless wings or bone with wings on them? Wings with bones. There we go. I don't know where I was going with that. I guess boneless, right? That would be. It's easier to eat, but it's also depending on what you get. It's also it may seem like it's less. It seems like you're getting more with bones.
Yeah, there's also something satisfying about ripping apart the bones and actually getting the meat off of there from the bones and just like tossing them away. It's a process. It's kind of like eating a crab, where it's not the same if you just like had the crab meat already outside the shell. It's the exploration of opening up the claws, the bones, of the meat, and actually getting the meat out. I just think there's something enjoyable about that process.
I can see where you're coming from with that. It also give you a little bit of a breather. If it was with the bones, if it was boneless, you should be throwing up, gnawing at the each individual one real quick. So when you have the bones in them, you'll get a little breather there, and then not overindulge yourself in that, but we still do. But it'll be less of a less goes down a bit slower than boneless, which is pretty nice. God damn, I want some boneless chicken wings.
You and I are on the same page, man. I cannot wait.
Cannot wait. So yeah, that's our question segment here. I almost forgot about the one from last week, but luckily I remembered. So, this has been episode 135 here. So be sure to give us a follow there on Twitter at our Twitter handles at Splinter47 and at ch_Gorog there, and give us a nice little rating there on iTunes. Still working on a nice thesis review of our podcast on iTunes one day. Hopefully somebody will write that, and always you can look out for the newer episodes on the iTunes feed there or spill.com. Always once I upload the files, it for the most part gets up there on iTunes pretty quick. So that's how you would go and download them, or just listening to them, streaming them, many things. that you can do with these internet these days. I always thought it was a fad, but you know, it must be kicking off, I guess. This whole podcasting business.
They can't get enough of us, man.
Yes, I know it's a blessing and a curse. Sometimes I've gotten many requests to sign Blade Thumb shirts. It's crazy.
Nice, very nice.
I gotta buy one for myself one day. That'd be nice.
Oh man, there's certainly nothing better than enjoying the fruits of your own labor.
And yeah, I think that's a good old plug list there. Check out our buddies over at the Better Gaming Bureau just by going to the bgb.com, and they're always doing audio reviews. They did a recent audio review for Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon and Metro Last Light. Just a wind back there where you were discussing that, and they're also doing some streams on the, I don't know the schedule, but they're always doing streams open there on Twitch. So if you follow them at twitch.tv/Better Gaming Bureau, you'll definitely get email notifications on when they're streaming. So they're always doing something with the streams. That was nice. Mm-hmm. So yes.
And then just looking forward to the day where we can, talk with the guys again, because they were absolutely wonderful associates to, go back and forth on for different things.
Absolutely. So definitely you gotta work something out there for either future podcasts or just reviews in general. So yes, final thoughts. Be kind to others. That's my Jerry Springer monologue to end the show.
Perfect. Well, I mean, I can't think of a better way to end the show than with Jerry Springer, especially since our sanity is close to that show.
Yeah, not a lot of the pregnancy tests going on there, or chair throwing. That's more Steve Wilkos. He likes throwing those chairs. But yes, up on that level. We're gonna be on the same schedule. If you haven't figured it out, the podcast is gonna be showing on the same channel as Jerry Springer. So right after Jerry Springer, you can listen to and watch the podcast as it unfolds, in that schedule and that amazing lineup of programming there.
I couldn't ask for a better lead-in than that.
I know. Certainly, we get an audience there. We're gonna get some new followers, some new questions posted in your YouTube comments there. Always good stuff there. So yes, for episode 135, I wish you all a very welcomely, I don't know what I'm saying, very wonderful week. So I'm just gonna sign off here. This is myself. I don't know if I'm talking to myself in the third person, but I am Splinter 47 signing off.
And I am CH Gurog. I hope you all have a wonderful day.